Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Oh, okay. So the first one is a logo, and it says Hickory Supports and Practices. Okay, so the logo itself is the field, or the color is like this bright lime green.
Yep.
Oval shape.
Yep.
It's got SS4A in orange with black trim. And then Safe Streets for All. And there's a little thumbprint in the middle and a QR code. And Hickory Supports and Practices, SS4A.
Yeah, so Safe Streets for All. Safe Streets for All is actually a national program through the U.S. Department of Transportation. And it's really a funding mechanism to fund cities and municipalities that want to implement a Safe Streets for All program. So I use that name to coincide with that, since it's a name that's already known out there, relatively known, but Safe Streets for All. And that's what we would like to practice here, to take this curve, like this part of the curve.
So this is audio only, there's no video. So you're showing a curve of a steep rise of like starting at the bottom, and it basically steep rise, like a very sharp kind of hill.
Yes.
And then you're trying to flatten out that well, people remember flattening out the curve from COVID, right? So
exactly. So, or bending the curve, it was what they talked about. So I'm using terms, for example, my 6 feet thing, so we're going to be talking about later on. 6 feet comes from COVID, so it's in everybody's head. So I used to say 3 feet, which is actually very close. That's only one arm's length from a car to you.
Yeah.
That's, if you're experienced on the road like you ride a bike, 3 feet is nothing. And it's not a lot of room for error. You wobble on a bike or the car moves, whatever. Not a lot of room. So I doubled that. Actually, a former girlfriend of mine said she was wearing one of my 3 feet thanks shirts, and somebody said, "Hey, what about 6 feet?" At first I went, "Oh my goodness." And I said, "No."
Actually.
Good idea. And so no state, no municipality has 6 feet as a regulation or recommends 6 feet to pass a cyclist. But when you practice it, you go, that's entirely safe.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, for sure. So when I wear that stuff, with the response that I get from drivers is a thumbs up, a wave, or "Hey, cool shirt." I don't get that with any other jersey I've ever worn, and I've been riding for most of my life. Never have had that happen.
So for the logo, right? Like this oval logo.
Yes.
I mean, is this a digital thing only, or is this a logo that you're actually using?
We're going to be using that. Yeah. So back to the Safe Streets for All. I went to an event in Monterey, California last spring. It's called Sea Otter. So they call it the Sea Otter Bike Festival. It's the largest bike event in the States now. So there used to be an event called Interbike. A big trade show. That's gone away. Not enough activity to support that anymore. Well, this Sea Otter is really 4 to 5 days of bike racing, mostly off-road. But all the major players in the cycling industry, so all the major components of the industry, so bike makers, Shimano, I think it was Cannondale and Specialized were, it was either Cannondale and Giant and Specialized. So those two of the big four. The big four are Trek, Specialized, Cannondale, and Giant. And the two of the big four were there. And then the component part, Shimano, all the major. SRAM, absolutely. Right. Shimano, SRAM, all the big component makers were there, tire makers, all the infrastructure of the cycling industry was there. So I literally show up, and the venue for this is Laguna Seca Racetrack. It's up a hill, only about a mile from where my brother lives. So anyway, I pop up the hill, I'm in my stuff, and I go, okay, I want to make connections with these people, and I hadn't really thought of it much before then. What am I going to say? How am I going to introduce them? They don't know my brand. My brand is just barely a dot on the horizon. It's brand new. Well, I'm going to pitch the idea of an industry and business and community-led Safe Streets for All effort. That means we take charge. It's now you're going to hear this in political jargon, but and I don't mean it that way. But it's no kidding. We, the people, are going to take charge of this, are going to try to mount this effort. Because so far, I showed you that steep. So if for people listening, if you imagine a straight up line, that's how accidents have been increasing. If we're going to bend that curve, so all the rules, regulations, and enforcement policies that are in place right now have done nothing to bend the curve. But
Okay.
let's try something new. And so that's what this idea is about. So I went to all the vendors that I could meet there during the 4 days that I was there, and pitched the idea. 100% positive response. And these are people just that display tents,
Right.
it's
Right.
upper management. Everybody says, yes, we need to do that. Great. So I come back home to Hickory, and I spoke with our mayor and also our business development director. And I pitched this idea. I said, it's going to be a community and business led effort here in Hickory. And we're going to be the proving ground for this effort. And they said, yeah, sounds great. We're not going to lead. And I'd already said, no, that's not what this is about. Government leading. It's the people leading it and then bringing government along. And they said, we support it entirely. Bring something to us and you'll get our support. Coincidentally, I contacted, so I put together a group that I called the Hickory Safe Streets Coalition. So it involved police, Department of Public Works, town government, and city government. And then also a group that's called the Western Piedmont Council on Government. So in North Carolina, we have these councils on government that are support organizations for municipal government, but they oversee multiple counties. And so I've been connected and I've been working with the traffic division on street safety, sidewalk safety, needs for sidewalks, things like that. And so in talking with the mayor, I said, all right, I'm going to contact people about it. He said, make sure the Council on Government is included, which I was going to do. But I said, yep, absolutely.
Okay.
They responded immediately. So I'm friends with them, but they responded immediately saying that that they had applied or were applying for a grant to hire consultants to do a comprehensive highway safety plan for our 4 counties, for the 4 counties that they oversee.
Oh, wow.
Highway is a government term for all forms of transportation. So now I said, all right, this is great. So we're going to do this community-led effort to improve safe streets for all. But now we're going to have some governmental organizational support through this comprehensive safety plan, which will, actually kind of anchor the whole thing. And so we just found out that Department of Transportation approved the request. So it was a request for proposal to hire the consultant. They're now vetting the consultants. And then once they vet the consultants, so you saw the QR code on our logo.
Yeah.
QR code is just a dummy. It's just a placeholder. But the idea is to build a website. So task the consultants as one of their first action items to put together a website where we can just let people know, here's what we're doing. And to follow that on, I've pitched the idea, and so far the idea has been accepted, that when we look at intersections that are high incident intersections, so where there's a prevalence of accidents, that we would actually put a physical sign there saying, warning, dangerous intersection, something along this wording.
Right.
We are currently, Department of Transportation and whoever else are currently studying this to find a way to mediate and improve this intersection. Regular drivers to say, "Oh, yeah, this thing is dangerous."
Now wait, I have to interrupt for a second because the locomotive, the steam train called Bruce Tretter, the impassioned came into the station, and I'm like, dude, take a breath. Okay, so that's good. Okay, let me ask a quick question. Because I know it's great. Like, you're impassioned. Okay, so the questions I have right away are, how big is the town or the city where you live? Just so that I have a sense of your environment, so I can see, like, for example, like, is what you're suggesting transferable to New York City versus, because if your town is like 10,000 people, what does that mean?
Exactly. Okay, so Hickory we're a city of 40,000, so a little over 40,000.
Okay.
40. And so it's a fair sized town. It's one of the largest in our area, in the 4 counties that I mentioned. We're one of the largest towns, if not the largest town in that region. It's actually, so those 4 counties that that council on government or that region is called the Greater Hickory District. I'm not sure
Right.
some of the other towns really appreciate that, but that's what
Yeah.
it's called. So absolutely transferable, yes. And so what we're going to do
Okay.
is pilot this program here. It's going to be a lot of trial and error along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the logo that you've mentioned, how are you going to use that thing? Is it only going to be digital? No. It's going to be
Mm.
something where we're going to physically produce. One of the guys at the Council on Government, young guys, he's like 23 years old. He said, because I pitched the idea to the mayor of a street sign that said exactly, Hickory
Right.
supports and promotes safe streets for all. And he said, I don't like street signs. I don't either, but I wanted to have something to lay on the table. So I went, all right. And so I mentioned to Daniel, he's the 23-year-old, and then Avery, who runs the traffic division of this Council on Government. She's 31. I love it. Two young people, so our next leaders, doing this, and all they want to do, their focus is always on how do we get to yes to get something done. Love it. And actually, Daniel told me one time after a meeting, he was walking me to the door and he goes, Bruce, I just want to let you know this is not government as usual. I went, great, because I've been involved. I was a school board member, a board of selectmen in my town in Massachusetts, and for 15 years, and then doing other things too. I fully understand that, and we've become friends. It's just terrific.
Okay. So what I'm trying to do, and I know I'm hitting the brakes on you. You really want you're so fired up. I mean, so I am going to hit the brakes a little bit because how the in terms of the podcast, we kind of have to skip very quickly because 15 minutes roughly per photo or image goes by very fast. So in terms of this particular logo, is it an active logo at the moment? And then we have to go on to the next image. But is this an active logo right now? Is this alive?
Okay, the logo is the one we're going to use, but no, we have not started to approach businesses and have it put in the businesses to say, do you support this? It would be on their window, inside their business. They would also have stickers that people could put on cars. So this logo mimics, like when you see, I don't know when you're in Hong Kong if you see these things, but it will say like marathon, 26.4, 26.2, or 13.1, or whatever people have, triathlete. It's that type of a logo, but then I use the bright colors because that implies safety.
Pops. Yeah.
They also correspond with my brand, and that's kind of tangential. But I go, why did I use those colors for my brand? Because they catch your eye, and that's the whole thing is to see, because if people start seeing these on cars, and people start, so the regular people start, our population starts using this stuff. It's going to give people the idea that, hey, listen, in Hickory, it's a little bit different. We got to watch what we do. We're not going to go racing through red lights.
Right.
And the focus is on drivers. We are here to support you. If we support you, it's going to make our road safer for all of us who use the road. But not bad drivers, because they're not going to give you the forefinger when they comment about that. It's going to be a different finger with a different meaning. And there's we all drive. So it's about how do we look at this whole problem comprehensively, but focus on what's most important. If we can reduce driver fatalities, so in the state.
Wait. Okay, I have to stop you, man.
All right, no problem.
I love it.
I hear those bad boys screeching. Yeah,
I love it. So, yeah, like I have two brains. So the first brain says, listen, let him finish his point. But the other part of my brain is like, well, we have to go on to the next photo.
Yeah.
So Bruce, what do we do?
All right, I'll just summarize the Safe Streets for All program.
Sure.
So it's going to be community and business led. We're going to get the logos into the businesses, get their support, and then have them be distributors for this. And the whole idea for the business, it has to be, how does this serve the business's self-interest? Well, hey, look, it's really good to see you. Love that you're back here in the store. Looking forward to seeing you in one piece back here again. Instead of saying, hey, glad to see you. By the way, next week we're going to have these really cool sweatshirts. You might be interested. That's a business to business context. Instead, No, we want to see you. It's like when you go to a restaurant and somebody comes up to you, hey, Ron, I haven't seen you in a while, but it's been great. How's your family? Love to see you again. If you like the food there, how apt are you to go back there again? So start
Absolutely.
using that model. Now let's improve safety on the roads, and then let's measure it and see how it turns out. So that's it in a nutshell.
Nice. I hope you don't feel like I'm being rude, but I want to get through all your photos.
Yeah, yeah.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.